If your marriage is on the brink of divorce, then this podcast episode could potentially keep your family together, keep your marriage together, and give you the tools on how to rekindle that spark and passion. Even if your marriage isn't on the brink of divorce and you just want better relationships, you want to communicate better, you want to connect better, you want more intimacy and sex, or if you just want a better relationship as a modern day man with your wife or partner, then this episode is going to peel back the curtain of what happened to my first marriage when it ended, Coach Sam's first marriage when it ended, and what you can do to avoid those same mistakes. So if you want better relationships, please enjoy this, take heaps of notes, and get a lot of value from this podcast episode with the Empowered Man podcast. Yes, today we're going to be discussing the power of divorce, children being raised in broken homes. A lot of men don't intend to get divorced. No one gets married with the intention of breaking up with their partner. No one gets married with the intention of their children being raised by another man. And lo and behold, it happens, 50% of the time, 60% of the time, 70% of the time? Like, the statistics are all over the fucking place, but the fact remains that so many men get divorced. So what we're going to be talking about today is the 4 steps to fix a marriage on the brink of divorce. Now, if you're already divorced, this will still help you. If your relationship is okay, this will still help you. If you're arguing too much, this will help you. Or if your wife has literally said, I want a divorce, I don't love you anymore, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, I can't do this anymore, this will still help you in some way, shape, or form. Full disclaimer, it may not fix your marriage, but if your marriage is fixable, it will definitely make a huge impact. And that is the key here, is sometimes it is too late. It's exactly what happened to me when my wife left me. She had made her decision. For 6 months prior to telling me I don't love you anymore, she was deciding and not communicating with me, which is also because I wasn't communicating with her. She was dropping hints, dropping signs, and I ignored those signs. By the time she said, I don't love you anymore, she had made her decision. But a lot of women, a lot of partners say that, and it's not what they actually mean. What they mean is, I don't feel loved. I don't see a future. Please do something about it. So whether it's too late for you, or you're on the brink of divorce, or you're somewhere in the middle, then understand you can fix it very fast. There are 4 things you're going to learn today on how to do from 2 men who have coached hundreds of high-performing men, entrepreneurs, husbands, business owners, fathers, men who have gone through almost going through a divorce or having gone through a divorce. So Sam, fill us in, like this happened to you a few months ago. We're going to share these 4 steps with these men, but walk me through what happened with you and your wife. Give us a quick summary.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say about those signs coming through over time. I in reflection, looking back, I'm like, those signs were there. I didn't know they were there. And since my ex and I have been talking, I'm like, wow, they were so clear, but I wasn't seeing them. We'd moved into our dream home, and she got to a point where she said, look, I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. And it broke me to the point where, I wasn't sure if I was going to get through it. They're the words that, for me, the words that I hoped that I would never, ever hear.
Yep. It's a massive knock to the ego, right? Yeah. The worst thing a wife can say to a husband is, I don't love you anymore. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Because a lot of the time for men, they have been lying to themselves, not intentionally, about how fucked up or problematic the relationship is. And we cling on to this hope that things will get better, and that because we're married, she'll never leave. But when she makes that decision, it can be catastrophic. Like, it breaks your heart. And that's in that moment, what happens is you lack certainty and you feel like your world's ending. But reality is, the reason that she says that is because she's lacking certainty, which we're going to dive into in today's session. But the reality is, the worst thing a woman can say to a man is, I don't love you anymore. But as men, we don't ask if they love us. We don't ask if they're feeling loved. We don't ask these things. So the reality is, if you ever hear that, it means that they're not feeling loved. The partner doesn't say that unless she feels loved. That's the reality of relationships. So a bit of a backstory for me, like my wife came home. I've shared this on many podcasts, but I was working hard, making money, providing, as we do as men. And we were doing well. We just bought our first house. We had the house, the car, the things, it was great. But there were all these cracks beginning to appear. So 6 months prior to my wife leaving or saying, I don't love you anymore, she said to me at lunch one day, I don't think that this is going to work out. Or I don't think that we're right for each other. I don't think that this is going to work. Something along those lines. We're sitting at lunch I think we'd had an argument, obviously. And my response to that was, don't say things like that. Right? My wife says, I don't think we're going to work out. And my response is, don't say things like that. And the conversation ended. Instead of asking her why she felt that way, instead of framing up like what she's feeling, trying to understand her better, as a typical man, I swept it under the rug and I'm like, don't talk about that. We do not discuss these things. And then 6 months later, she says, I don't love you anymore. And our relationship ends overnight. We sweep these things under the rug. We really do. And as men, we ignore the signs. We ignore the lack of intimacy, right? The sex, it's nowhere near the same as at the beginning. We ignore the breakdown of communication and the arguments. We sweep under the rug the fact that we feel like roommates instead of soulmates. We sweep under the rug the fact that we're like two ships passing in the night. We sweep these things under the rug, not intentionally, because we're so busy and so driven to do everything else that we just pretend like things are okay. And a lot of the time they're not. And it's okay if they're not. We sweep these things under the rug, right? So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about what to do. And you can do this prior to hearing those words. But we're going to be talking about what to do when your wife says either, I want a divorce, I can't do this anymore, or I love you, but I'm not in love with you. How many times have we heard those words from other men? Like, all the fucking time. All the fucking time. So we talked to a guy yesterday, a beautiful soul, Andrew, who jumped into the Empowered Man program, and we help fix marriages in like 2 to 3 weeks. You know, therapy, books, all those things people think you need, you don't need. I'm not knocking it, but a lot of guys don't get value from therapy. Like marriage counseling and marriage therapy for a lot of men is a waste of fucking time. Why? Because what happens is you go into that room and you sit with that woman or man, and then they ask you questions like, so tell me what the problems are. Or how do you feel about each other? Or how long have you been feeling this way? And all this stuff that's been suppressed in the relationship, because the reason you're at a counselor is to discuss it because you haven't been able to do that on your own. It all comes to the surface, right? Especially if your wife wants to leave, she's the one who's initiated it. And then the hour ends. And then you leave that room. And all you've done is you've talked about, not all the time, but for a lot of counselors and therapists, all you've done is talk about the problems, brought awareness to them. So the pain and the feelings and the thoughts attached to that come up. And then you go home.
Yeah.
And there's no solution or tools. So now you're festering. Go on.
Yeah, you go.
And so now you're festering, thinking about these things. She's feeling these emotions. All the stuff from the past has been brought to the present, and it causes even more problems. You know? Yeah, what were you going to say?
I remember walking out of marriage counseling the first session, because we coach, we lead people towards an outcome. You know, we're in this space and we're unpacking all of those things like you just shared. Like, how does Sam make you feel unloved? Like questions like that. And then it feels like you're walking out with this open wound.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what to do with that. And then the friction, the tension, like it's just heightened so much more. And it's just like, what do we do with that? See you in 2 weeks. Like, it's like, what?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And that's it for 2 weeks. And it's literally like she's telling you how she has trauma from 3 years ago. And the guy says, sorry, guys, we're up. I'll see you next week, or I'll see you in 2 weeks. But then you have no tools to deal with it. So I'm not knocking marriage counseling. I'm not knocking therapists, but so many men go to us. My wife's about to leave. And they come to join our program and they have to think about it because of the investment or the time, or they're afraid it won't work. And then the wife says, why don't we try marriage counseling? And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I hope it works out, but it so often doesn't. You know what I mean? It's quite biased, not all the time, and it doesn't. There are great counselors out there. I don't know who they are, but I'm sure they exist, right? So let's say you hear from your wife, I don't love you anymore. I don't want to be with you anymore. In that instance, the first thing you need is certainty. When your relationship is breaking down, what your partner needs is certainty. She needs certainty from you that you can make her feel loved, that you have a path forward for you. She needs to be able to see the future with you that's full of understanding, love, appreciation, respect. Because if she wants to leave, or if your relationship's breaking down, you can be damn sure she is lacking certainty. A wife does not just leave. A wife thinks for weeks or months or years about how fucked up things are, and she no longer can see a future. That means there's no certainty about the two of you. So why would she be in the relationship? right? You got to have certainty. It's the first thing. So we talked to our a new client that signed up yesterday, and he's joined our program, and he's nervous and excited. And he said to me, my wife's booked marriage counseling. I don't want to go in there and just, tell her all the things she's done wrong and attack her. I want to make sure that we get a result out of it. What do I do? Like, how do I go into that meeting prepared? I explained to him that, it may or may not go well. Be prepared for the worst, hope for the best. But typically what happens is you'll talk about problems. It'll bring heaps of emotions up and you won't have any tools. How much can you do in an hour, right? So I said, certainty. What he wanted to do was go in there and find out why she's given up on the relationship and why she didn't tell him earlier and why, she's giving up on their family. And like he wanted answers from her. He wanted her to understand how he's feeling. He's been crying for days on end. 2 weeks ago, she told him, I don't love you anymore. He's been crying and he just feels all this emotion. He's trying to get her to understand how he's feeling and all this sort of shit. And that's fine. But what that is it's searching for certainty from her. And I talked to you about this, Sam, when your wife decided to end it. It's like when our wife says, I don't love you anymore, as men, we capitulate, a lot of us, because we have this massive hole in our chest and we feel this emptiness. Like as a man, when you get told that your wife doesn't love you anymore, you feel this hole in your chest, you feel empty and you feel lost. It's the worst feeling on the planet, especially if you have kids. So you feel this massive lack of certainty, and then you want your partner to understand you. You want to know why she didn't tell you earlier, blah, 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 blah. And then you try to direct that towards her and you try and withdraw certainty from her. How can you possibly get certainty from someone who's uncertain? Now, if you are trying to withdraw certainty from somebody who's uncertain, you're going to create even more uncertainty within them. Mm-hmm. And the more uncertainty they have, the more they build the story that this relationship no longer has any percentage chance of working. Mm. It's like you've got a rope holding two people together. As long as that rope is held together by one thread, it's still holding it together. But once that thread breaks, you can't repair that rope. It's irreparable. It's the rift that grows, right? So I said to him, the first thing she needs is certainty. She needs certainty that the things you weren't giving her are going to happen. Don't tell her I'm going to do more, be more, etc. That doesn't mean shit. She's been hearing that for years. She needs certainty that you are going to change. She needs certainty that when you make that change, it's going to last. She needs certainty that she can feel what she once felt with you. She needs certainty that in the future that you can have a future together and be happy. Like if she's lacking those things, then of course she's going to give up on the relationship. And I think a lot of the time for women, it's not all the time, but it's case to case, when they say, I don't love you anymore, they still love you. Not always. Sometimes they've made their decision, like your wife and mine. But sometimes what they're saying is, I don't know how to communicate that I'm feeling alone, uncertain. I feel like I can't trust you anymore. I can't communicate with you. We don't talk. We don't connect. And that's the language she uses. So I think before we even continue, I wanted to pre-frame this before. It's like when you hear those words, you've got to just, even if it is over, you've got to decide, I'm going to do everything in my power to fix this marriage. Even if it's over, I'm going to do everything in my power until I can see that it's not possible, right? Mm-hmm. So just pretend like it is possible. But then creating that certainty, like certainty is giving her the certainty through your own certainty that you're going to change. And it's so hard to do that when you've got a hole in your chest and you fall into a victim mentality. Because let's be honest, when you heard those words, who did you become? Like I know for me, I went into victim. I blamed her. Why didn't she tell me this? Well, blame game. What happened with you? Like, be honest. Like when you heard those words, who did you turn into? What was your identity?
I went into kind of on the other side. I went into victim and I beat myself up.
Yeah.
Why wasn't I enough? They're generally my triggers is going into, I'm not good enough. Like that. They're my things, my stuff. Mm-hmm. And I just went straight into that. I'm not good enough. And I've failed and, taking probably too much responsibility. Mm-hmm. And, I think the thing with certainty is, and one thing, my ex-wife would say to me all the time is, I don't want your words. I want action. I want to see results. Stop telling me what you're going to do and just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And in reflection now, she was crying out for that certainty for a number of years. You know, we'd get into an argument and she would say, I'm done. And I would say things like, you can't say that. You're not done. Like, what about this? And what about that? You're not done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she said to me only a few months ago, because we're communicating and talking, it's really great now, but she said to me, it takes a woman a number of times to say that they're done.
Yeah.
For them to get the courage to leave.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really interesting. That, I mean, could I have jumped in and created the certainty that she needed, you know, with all those different markers along the years? Of course I could have. And did I try? Of course I tried. But, you know, I mean, there was a lot of stuff in our story that, you know, kind of undergirded a lot of those things. But I think what we tend to do, and talking with a lot of the men that we speak to, is we tend to be these certainty crammers. So like when the uncertainty comes, when she says, I don't love you anymore, when she says, I don't know if I can do this anymore, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. We then try and cram 10, 20 years of uncertainty, try and cram the certainty in now. Oh, I'm going to do this, do this, and do this, and do this. And by the end of the week, we're going to be fine. And they're done.
Yeah.
Like in that moment, whether that's a long-term done or not, they're so emotionally shut down. I mean, that was my wife's thing. Like when I'm like, okay, almost damage control. I'm like, how do we, you know, I want to be this for you. I want to do this for you. I'm taking responsibility for these things. And these are the things that I want to see change and improve in our relationship. And she's like, well, that's great. But emotionally, I'm so shut down.
Done.
It means nothing.
It's too late. It's too late because you've crammed it in. Exactly. Yeah. Hey, legend, if you're getting value from this podcast, then you're going to love our Empowered Man 7-Day Challenge. Inside, we've taken some of the best content our clients invest thousands of dollars for to change their lives, and we've given it to you in the course of 7 days. This challenge is worth over $3,000, and you can get it for $37, 97% off. Inside, we'll teach you how to fix your marriage and relationships and reconnect with your partner, your kids, your wife. We will teach you how to take back your time, how to take back your power, get into powerful routines, and how to take control of your life, take control of your mind, take control of your business, take control of your health, take control of your wealth. Sounds too good to be true, but there's a complete money back guarantee. So if you're enjoying this podcast, go to elitebusinessman.com/challenge. That's elitebusinessman.com/challenge. It's going to be in the call notes as well, and you'll be able to register for this challenge that will completely change your life. And that's the thing. It's like the certainty is that's such a good frame. I've never heard that before. We cram it in because we're hit with that pain. It's like a man won't go to the doctor for years, and then he'll go that one time and get cancer, and then he's going to go every single day because he's like, shit, I actually found out. But we ignore that problem and that pain, even though we've had the pain in our side, which could have been cancer. We ignore it because as men, we've been trained to ignore pain. And when that happens in your relationships or your health, like it can kill you, it can destroy your relationship. So you get hit with that cancer. Now you try to fix it. You get told by your wife, she doesn't love you anymore. Now you try to fix it. Now you try to create certainty. But sometimes it's too late. The damage is done.
Yeah.
So the first step to changing a relationship and fixing it is having certainty. Your wife says, I don't love you anymore. Your relationship's breaking down. You decide, I'm going to fix this. It may not work out, but I'm going to do everything in my power to become the man my wife deserves. And I'm not just going to talk shit. I'm going to do shit. Certainty. And you don't look for certainty from her. Why didn't you tell me? No, mate, your wife does not fucking leave. Your relationship does not end if she is happy, certain, loved, supported. It doesn't happen. It's impossible. It does not happen. She doesn't have the capacity to think about other men when she's getting what she desires. It doesn't work, right? So the first step is certainty. Certainty within yourself that you're going to fix this, which is so hard when your heart is broken, when you're a victim, when you don't feel good enough. It's the only way to keep your family together. The second is certainty. How can I give her certainty? Which leads us to the second thing you do, clarity. Clarity, right? So when Holly said that and when my wife said that, we were stuck in victim, but we actually needed clarity on how to fix things. It's like, what were we not doing? What did she need? Those are the points. So let's talk about clarity for a second. Like, how do we break that down? Clarity, what do we need to be clear on? We've got the certainty. I'm going to fix this. It's my responsibility. Now, where do we need clarity?
I think that the first step with clarity is getting to the brutal truth. Who we haven't been, where we didn't step up, owning what's ours to own. And that can be it's a really painful thing to do. It's confronting. It's like looking yourself in the mirror, looking yourself in the eye and going, I vowed to be this man. I remember doing that. I vowed to be this man for her, and I missed the mark. My heart was right, my intentions were right, but I missed it. I missed the mark. And getting to that truth, and then getting really clear on why things broke down. I think that's one of our downfalls, is we're not clear on why things broke down. And you hear a lot of people who are bitter about their ex-wives or bitter about their previous relationships because they never got clarity on why things broke down. It was just, oh, she just did that, and she just broke my heart, and she just left. And it doesn't allow any space for us to grow, like if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, it's responsibility.
Responsibility. It's radical responsibility. And I think, another thing with clarity is with clarity, when there's a lack of connection and communication with clarity, we don't know how to make them feel loved. That common language. Oh, nothing I do makes her happy. Nothing I do is good enough. It's a lack of clarity because we don't have those markers in our relationship to check in and go, how is what I'm doing helping you feel loved? Like, I thought that by working harder that I was, bringing in more income and providing more, and that was making her feel secure and loved. But underneath it all, it wasn't. There's a lack of clarity on my part.
They're blind spots.
Yeah.
No one intentionally gets divorced, but people get divorced. It's because we have no clarity. We don't know what our partner wants and what they don't want. So we think they want us to provide and make money, but what they want is just dad and husband to be at home and not be a grumpy bastard. Right? They want to have quality time with you. That there's things that you aren't clear on. It's not intentional, but we don't give them. So to fix a relationship, you got to have clarity. What does your partner want that she's not getting? How long has it been going on for? What could you do differently? What could you give her? How could you create certainty for her? How could you make her feel loved, understood, appreciated, respected? Now, there's two ways to get this clarity. One, you ask, and two, you do some soul searching because you sort of know the answer. We don't stop as men to think about these things. You ask. If your wife has said, I don't love you anymore, she might not give you an answer. She might not know. I don't know. I don't know what I want. You got to do some soul searching and find clarity. What could you do differently? Like, how could you create? So we got certainty. Okay, cool. So if I look at myself in the mirror and I stop working so hard and actually slow the fuck down, my camera's going to die. If I slow down, right, what I will do is I will achieve clarity and realize that I don't help with the kids anymore. I don't take her on date nights. This has been going on for 7 years. Men say, I don't know how long she says it's gone forever. It hasn't been. No, mate, look in the mirror. How long has it been going on for? Look, it's not your fault. You didn't do it on purpose, but it is your responsibility to fix it. So get clarity on these things. Ask her, how long has this been going on for? Ask the painful questions. Don't go into victim. Why didn't you tell me? Why this? Why that? No, clearly I fucked up. And I got a hole in my chest right now, but it's not on me. You must have a hole in your chest as well. So clarity. If I change for good, is there a hope of fixing this relationship? Yes, I don't know, maybe. No. You're going to get one of those answers. Get clarity. What do you need from me that I haven't given you? How long has this been? Like, ask these questions and get as much as you can from her. And if you can't, figure it out yourself. Which leads us to the third point before my camera dies. We're going to have to speed this up. Commitment. So you got certainty. You give her certainty. You don't search for it from her. If she says, I don't love you anymore, guess what? If she wants a divorce, she's lacking certainty. Give it to her. Get clarity on how you do that. This is soul searching. We teach it in the Empowered Man. If you want help with this, go and join our challenge. The link will be down below, right? But commitment. It's not just saying you're going to do shit. It's doing it for good. Excuse me. Anyone can be happy for a day. Anyone can be told that I don't love you anymore. And like Andrew, he went and helped around the house and did all these things. He's committed. And she's like, that pisses me off even more because you never did that before.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you committed to doing day in and day out to work on that clarity piece and create certainty? Working less, spending more time with the kids, going to marriage counseling, joining a program like ours. Like, what are you committed to? You got to make a commitment to do whatever it takes. And the thing about commitment is when you commit to doing something and you do it, you take action on the things that are hard or scary or difficult, it is very difficult to be in a victim mentality. You cannot be a victim and afraid and stuck and not knowing what to do if you're taking consistent action, because that action means you're doing, which means you're not thinking, you're implementing. And you might fuck it up and it might fail, but at least you're doing something about it because you're committed. So many men say they're committed and then they just sit on the fence doing nothing. And this is why marriages break down. This is why we're unhappy. The most powerful men, they get clarity on what they need to do. They commit to doing it and they do it whether they feel like it or not. Yeah. And those are the most powerful men on the planet. If your relationship's breaking down, you got to commit to fixing it. And it's so hard to do that, Sam. Like by the way, it's not easy. Like when my wife left me, I went on a 3-month bender. I took cocaine, MDMA, I drank alcohol, I smoked cigarettes, I took drugs, I numbed myself for 3 months. I spent tens of thousands of dollars. And after the 3 months, I wanted to kill myself. I wasn't committed to fixing it. I was committed to being a victim, and I wasn't even aware of this. I was like 24, 25. But the only way to fix a broken relationship or a broken heart is to get out there and either fix the relationship, and if it's not salvageable, work on yourself so this shit never happens again. So whether your marriage is doomed or not, you've got to make a commitment. And that commitment is like, you know what? If my wife wants to leave, that means I fucked up. Where did I fuck up? I'm committed to never making those mistakes again. I'm committed to learning how to fix this shit. I'm committed to never letting this happen again, whether it's with my wife or another woman. And the men who win are the ones who, because this is a painful lesson, right? Like the most powerful lessons in your life are going to come from pain. My grandfather's in hospital right now. He's dying. He could be dead in the next few days, or he could survive. He could pull through, but he's on a ventilator in critical care. And there is so much pain and guilt within me right now. But that pain is teaching me lessons about life. Slow down. Stop working so much. Spend time with family. That guilt you're feeling, it's there to teach you something. It's the same when your marriage breaks down. It's there to teach you something. It's there to help you grow, like every problem or challenge. But so many of us go into that victim mentality and just wallow in sorrow instead of going, okay, cool. How can I get clear and clarity on what to do to fix this? Let's commit to fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the fourth and final point, which is connection.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Once we've got that certainty, we've got the clarity, we've committed. And one of the things, can I touch on real quick with commitment is committing to the marathon of restoration. You know, yes, we can give, you know, we give a lot of our guys tools to repair things in 2 to 3 weeks and 100%, but long term, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
It's consistency. It's not a quick fix. And it's remaining consistent with that. And it's about reestablishing connection.
Yeah.
You know, I think when there's a door open to repair things, it's about embracing the opportunity to reconnect, to reignite the spark, to get to a point where you are present. You know, one of the things with modern day men in their relationships, they're not present. And that is how a lot of this stuff happens. And when the opportunity to reconnect is there, then it enables space for reconnection. Dating your wife again, like getting to know each other, having these regular check-ins, like we call them love meetings in our program, like checking in. How are you feeling today? How am I making you feel loved? Is this helpful for you? How can I best support you this week? It's those things that feel so obvious, but so foreign in so many relationships. Yes. But it's all about that foundation of reconnection. And we see it kind of outlay time and time again in the relationships of the guys that we work with. They're like, I feel like I'm getting to know my partner on a whole other level, and I've missed this over so many years. And I think it's a really powerful frame to reconnect.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts?
Well, one of my biggest lessons from my wife leaving me was communication is the key to connection. Yeah. Your marriage does not break down if you are communicating, because by definition, if you're communicating that you don't feel loved, you're a bit triggered at your partner, we keep having the same arguments, we haven't made love in a while. If those things are communicated consistently on a daily, weekly, at the maximum basis, then it's very difficult to, one, ignore them or sweep them under the rug. And it's very difficult not to do something about it. Because if you're like in business, you communicate about your problems, you fix them. If your employees aren't pulling their weight, you communicate about those problems, you fix them. If they don't fix them, you fire them, right? Like communication is everywhere else. But in relationships, we sweep so much shit under the rug. And this is why marriages break down again, because we don't communicate the problems. So the lesson that I learned with my previous relationship that changed my relationship with Rosie, now my current wife, was that connection comes from communication. It's the key. So it's our highest value in our relationship. If I say something that upsets my wife, she will tell me. She won't give me the silent treatment. She won't bottle it up. This has taken work and time. She'll say, look, I know you didn't mean to do that, but the way you spoke to me wasn't okay. Sometimes she'll spend 2 hours stewing on it. Then she'll tell me, right? But she will communicate it. And then I'll go, shit, I'm sorry, or shit, I don't agree. And it's the other way around. You know, the other day I told her, I was like, I don't feel appreciated by you. Now, I didn't say it in a rude tone. We had a meeting and a setting for it, right? The reason my marriage broke down was because when my wife told me there were problems, I would sweep them under the rug. Like the reason my marriage broke down was because she'd tell me that she didn't think it was going to work. And I'd say, don't say that. Or we weren't having sex for a month or two. And instead of going, hey, like, why aren't we having sex? I just get angry and upset at her. Blame her for the reasons, right? So connection is huge. It's like, if your wife has said, I don't love you anymore, or I can't do this anymore, there is a disconnection to the point where it's either fully broken or it's close, right? So like if you imagine like a rift opening up, like there's an earthquake and the ground opens, like in those movies, there's a point that you can jump over that rift. But when the rift gets too high, you cannot put the earth back together. You can't put the earth back together. So that rift gets so high, you can't jump over it. That means it's disconnected. There is a disconnection between the earth. It's the same in our relationships. So if we understand that we get to create certainty that we're going to fix this, we're going to do everything in our power to fix it. We're not going to seek certainty from her. We're going to give her certainty. We're going to get clarity on what that actually looks like. What have I done wrong? What could I do better? How long has it been going on for? I'm going to commit to fixing it. And then I'm going to dedicate all of that commitment to connection. And the easiest way to do this, the easiest way to fix your marriage or improve your relationships is ask yourself, what created the connection in the first place? What were we doing at the beginning of the relationship? What made us fall in love with each other? How were we communicating? What questions were we asking? How are we getting to know each other? How are we touching each other? How much time we're spending together? What were we doing in that time? That's the clarity piece, but combined with connection, what created connection for us? And how can I implement that rapidly again? How can I create more connection in my relationship by giving my partner the things she desires? And a woman and a man, this is what we always want. We want love, understanding, appreciation, support, and respect.
Yeah.
Every relationship needs love, appreciation, understanding, support, and respect. For women, a lot of the time, what they want is understanding. They want to be understood. They're like, yeah, it's hard being a mother and looking after the kids. They want support, help out around the house. They definitely want love. For men, typically, most of the time, I've noticed, we want respect and appreciation, right? Like the fact that you're downstairs cooking for me when I'm working, it's a show of respect and you appreciate all the hard work I do. The problem is in this day and age, men are expected to do everything. It's like work all day, slave, killing yourself to provide for the family, come home, look after the kids and help with the cooking. And if you don't, I'm an angry fuck, right? This is the problem with modern day relationships. There are no gender roles, and that's a whole different podcast. But really it comes down to this idea of connection. It's like for men, when they're lacking appreciation and respect, they lose connection. Now, if your wife has decided she wants to leave you, you can no longer go and search for appreciation and respect. She has lost that. It does not exist. The only way you can build it back up is by giving her love, understanding, support, appreciation, and respect, right? And that's what connection is. Connection is giving that to someone. You can't make them feel it, but you can show them things you do that build certainty within them that that's going to last. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what connection is, right? A disconnection is chaos. So it's communication. How can you communicate and connect? And then how can you give your partner those things? And when you combine this, you create certainty, you create clarity, you make a commitment, and you start to reconnect. magic begins to happen. And this is how so many men, 2 to 4 weeks after their wife has said, I don't love you anymore, it switches. Now, keeping in mind for these men, what their wife actually said, because we don't always say what we mean and mean what we say, was, I'm uncertain, I'm lost, I don't see a future, please help me. That's what she said. Sometimes when she says that, what she's saying is it's over. And at that point, it might be too late. But that does not mean you don't implement these steps. You got to have all 4. You really do. And for you and I, with Holly and my ex Anita, it was too late. We could have done all this and failed. But we would have grown faster and got out of victim mentality faster. You know? And the point of this is, even if you can't fix your marriage, if it's too late, you got to learn this so that you can never make these mistakes again, but also so you can pass this on to your kids. Because guess what? If you can teach them how to be a loving, understanding, respectful, appreciative, supportive partner, and they find somebody who's not a narcissist or crazy, things are going to work for them. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Myself. Perfect.
Awesome. Well, I think my camera's about to die. So if you got value from this, I hope you did. If you are a man who's having relationship issues, you know, you're going through problems in your marriage, your wife said she doesn't love you anymore, it's very common, then these are the 4 steps. Don't look for certainty within her. Create certainty within yourself. I know it's fucking hard. Get clarity on what to do, what you could have done better. Get a coach. Invest in, we got a program. It's $37 down below, up above. Work on yourself. Commit to fixing things and use connection through communication and those areas I just talked about. That will give you a lot of clarity and potentially fix your marriage. You know, I truly believe you don't need books, you don't need counseling, you don't need therapy. You just got to work on yourself and become the man she fell in love with, but better. You know, it's crazy, man. We upgrade our phones, we upgrade our cars, we upgrade our wardrobe. When do we upgrade ourselves? Like upgrade the way we think, upgrade the way we operate, upgrade our skill sets, our mindsets, our character traits. As men, we've been told that's selfish. Think about it. You don't drive around a car that's 40 years old. People upgrade. They upgrade that model. As men, if you do not upgrade yourself, you will get left behind because there are Lamborghinis and Porsches out there in terms of men. So if you're a fucking beat up Beetle, why would your wife stick with you? And it's just the harsh reality of life. Women want safety and security. So if you want to be respected as a man, upgrade yourself. If you want better relationships, upgrade yourself. And it's hard to hear that when your relationship's breaking down. I mean it with no disrespect. But you can fix it. You just got to do the right things. All right. Anything you want to add, bro?
No, that's great. I was going to jump in about the upgrading ourselves too, but that's,
Yeah,
I
stole it from you. So guys, I hope you got value from this. If you are going through relationship issues, feel free to click the links up above or down below. You can apply to work with us, watch our Empowered Man documentary. There's also a link for our 7-day challenge. So check out the call notes. And if you are going through this, understand you can fix it. You can work on it. You just got to make a commitment. You got to have clarity. You got to have certainty, and you got to reconnect. And that starts with reconnecting with yourself. So I hope you got value from this. I'll see you for the next episode. Have an amazing day. Bye. Hey, brother, I hope you got a ton of value from that podcast. If you would like to work with us personally and get some of the best content we've launched for our clients who invested thousands of dollars, then go and complete our 7-day Empowered Man Challenge. This mission will completely transform your life. If it doesn't, you won't have to pay a cent. It's only $37, and it is game-changing if you want to take back control. So if you want to find balance between business, family, and life, if you want the relationship, the health, the wealth that you deserve, then go to elitebusinessman.com/challenge. That's elitebusinessman.com/challenge and take up this challenge to take back control of your life.